Are you wondering what happens after the dark night of the soul? Sophia Persephone here. Today I'm going to talk about what happens after the dark night of the soul in spiritual awakening. What can you expect? So first of all, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to assume we're talking about the spiritual dark night of the soul, the one that happens after the connection phase of awakening, when we're aware that we're in an awakening process, and that is a very specific and easy to identify stage of the spiritual awakening journey. But you should know there is another type of dark night of the soul called the growth-oriented dark night of the soul, which happens much earlier on during the non-conscious phase of spiritual awakening. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave a link in the description below that will connect you to a blog post of mine that will talk about the two types of dark night of the soul in more detail. But for now, we're going to assume we're talking about the spiritual dark night of the soul. So when does that happen? Well, it occurs at 50% integration with our higher selves. So spiritual awakening is the process of the integration of the earthbound soul with our higher self, who is has remained in the higher dimensions. So it happens at 50%, and it happens after a phase called connection. During the connection phase of awakening, we have lots of spontaneous communication with our guides, with our higher self. We have otherworldly experiences. We may become intensely psychic. We enter a period of flow. The whole point of the connection phase of awakening is to show us what can happen if we continue with the spiritual awakening process. So it basically preempts where we will get to once we're fully transcended, if we follow all of the protocols that we've been taught. So if you're in the dark night of the soul, the spiritual dark night of the soul, it's really normal that you would ask what's coming next, because you might feel that you're in something that is never ending. You may be questioning all of the experiences that you had during the connection phase. You might be wondering, am I going a bit mad? No, you're not. Don't worry. This is a thing that happens to us because during the connection phase of spiritual awakening, when we're all excited and it's all new and shiny, we meet our guides for the first time. We might become aware of our soul, and we might learn their name. You know, all of these things are things that are happening to us. When it suddenly cuts off, which is what happens during the spiritual dark night of the soul, we start to think, you know, what was that I experienced? Is it a real thing? Or is this my normal state of being? Is this the thing that's going to happen to me now for the rest of my life? And what's happened during the spiritual dark night of the soul is to reteach us self-sufficiency so that we can rely again on our human instincts and our human nature. The universe basically restricts all of our chakric flow through every single chakra, all at the same time. And it can go down as low as 5% of flow. So what that means is, if you think about, you know, the 7 major energies of the universe going through our being, if all of that is suddenly halted, then we just do not feel that connection. The connection is still there. We just don't feel it. And we start wondering, you know, what happens after the dark night of the soul? Is this it? You know, or is there something that comes next? So I really want to reassure you, this is just a stage that you are going through. If you continue with your protocols, particularly meditation, meditate every day, be kind to yourself, spend time in water, spend time in nature, spend time with animals. All of these things will help you continue to integrate and will help you get through the spiritual dark night of the soul. I've actually written a book about this, how to get through the dark night of the soul, so I'll link you to it somewhere. But trust me, the connection does come back if you proceed, if you continue with your protocols. So it comes back at around 65 to 70% integration with your higher self. And what you'll notice is, because your chakras were all constricted all at the same time to a very low degree, you went into the dark night of the soul like that, you will come out of the dark night of the soul like that. All of a sudden, connection is restored. It's a wonderful experience. I'm saying that as someone who's been through the spiritual dark night of the soul twice. So if you continue with your protocols, it will all switch back on. It's like a radio crackling back into life. But then you're going to enter a phase called advanced learning. Now, this is a phase of awakening that is really crucial, because what it does is it finally allows you to let go of your ego. It cements your spiritual practice, and it puts you on the path to redesign your life to the way it needs to be for you to fulfill your mission. Because as a higher evolved soul who is going through the awakening journey right now, you have a mission. Your mission is to aid global enlightenment in some way. We don't know what yet, possibly, but that's what this advanced learning phase will help you uncover. So there's two main things that, three actually. There's three main things that are going to happen to you during the advanced learning phase of awakening. The first one is your team is going to challenge you on judgment. So all of the things that you thought you could rely on, maybe you were using divination tools like tarot cards, for example, or you were just receiving messages from your guides that told you what to do next, right? They're going to take that away. So you're going to get increasingly preposterous information that is leading you down the wrong path. They're waiting for you to have an aha moment that says, oh, okay, I can't always rely on what I'm told. And the reason for that is because they need you to turn inwards. They need you to uncover through your own meditative activity what it is you should be doing, what is going to help you achieve your mission, what is going to make you feel happy and fulfilled in this lifetime. So that's one of the things that's going to come to you during the advanced learning phase. One of the other things that's going to come, number two, is you're going to learn advanced spiritual techniques. You're going to design your daily routine in a way that works for you, that gets you the connection you need with your guides, and that keeps you in that healthy, happy, high vibrational state. So you're really going to learn new techniques. Maybe you'll investigate lucid dreaming. You should. It's a really powerful tool. That's something that's going to happen to you in the next phase when you're out of the dark night of the soul. And then another thing that's going to happen, and it's a really important thing, but it's very, very difficult, and it's one of the reasons that the advanced learning stage can last quite a long time, is you need to release what doesn't serve you. And this can be many, many things. It can be your own behaviors. If you're descended from the Freya or the Lucifer branch of the soul tree, you may well have issues with addiction. Don't feel bad about it. It's very, very common for higher evolved souls. But, you're going to have to leave those things behind. Maybe you're still in a relationship that isn't working for you. You may have had a keeper. This is very normal, that higher evolved souls who are scheduled to awaken will be paired up with another higher evolved soul who is not due to awaken. They're there to create stability for you, but you'll reach a certain point where you've got through the dark night of the soul, you're into advanced learning, that relationship is no longer beneficial either to you or to your partner, and you will have to leave that behind. It was, for me, one of the hardest things that I did during my awakening, but my ex-partner now is much happier, and so am I. So you just have to trust that process, that it's the right thing to do. Following your instincts is really important at this time. And maybe it's jobs, maybe it's where you live, maybe you have a toxic family relationship or friends that that you just need to leave behind. You're going to untangle all of that in the phase that comes after the dark night of the soul. So when we're thinking about what happens after the dark night of the soul, honestly, it's transformational change. That's what's going to happen, internal and external. That's what's coming for you. You leave that phase at 100% integration with your higher self. Then you enter a phase called transcendence. Now, transcendence can take a really long time. I'm going to talk about it separately in another video because it's a very subtle, tricksy sort of phase of awakening. But once you get to the end of that, what you have effectively done is you've built all of the mechanical tools that you need to reach your highest soul potential. So the way it's been described to me by my guides is during integration, when you get to 100% integration, you have built the lift, and during transcendence, you build the lift shaft. So then post transcendence, it's all about using that lift that you have built, the mechanics that you've built. So what happens after the dark night of the soul? Loads of great stuff. When you're in the dark night of the soul, you're only halfway through your journey, right? Well, a little bit more, but pretty much only halfway through. So there's a lot more to come. But really, that's the bit. It's the bit after the dark night where you step into your true soul power. You uncover your mission, and you can work out what it is you came here to do. And you will feel so energized and driven to deliver that mission. That is the fantastic bit about coming out of the spiritual dark night of the soul. And that's why you should commit to that journey, because you have the opportunity to make enormous changes, not just for yourself on a micro level, but for the planet, for the human race on a macro level. You will feel so enormously fulfilled once you're following that path, your true path.